Bọ́lọ́rẹ́ kan tí orí tó ní orí. Bọ́lọ́rẹ́ kan tí orí tó ní orí. Bí mo ṣe mú mi bí mo ṣe sọ̀rọ̀, bí mo ṣe ń lọ, bí mo ṣe ń bọ̀. Òjijì arẹwà, òjijì arẹwà, gbogbo ohun tá a ṣe. Òjijì arẹwà, òjijì arẹwà, gbogbo ohun tá a ṣe. Òjijì arẹwà, òjijì arẹwà, gbogbo ohun tá a ṣe. Bàbá kàmí máa wọ nínú oníṣẹ́ rẹ̀. Bàbá kàmí máa wọ nínú oníṣẹ́ rẹ̀. Má jẹ́ kó kí n tọ́kú, má jẹ́ farabalẹ̀ rẹ̀. Má jẹ́ kó kí n tọ́kú, má jẹ́ farabalẹ̀ rẹ̀. Má jẹ́ bá wọn lọ́dọ̀ láìpẹ́ ní ètò àìṣe ní láṣẹ gbé. Bàbá kàmí máa wọ nínú oníṣẹ́ rẹ̀. Bàbá kàmí máa wọ nínú oníṣẹ́ rẹ̀. Má jẹ́ kó kí n tọ́kú, má jẹ́ farabalẹ̀ rẹ̀. Má jẹ́ kó kí n tọ́kú, má jẹ́ farabalẹ̀ rẹ̀. Má jẹ́ bá wọn lọ́dọ̀ láìpẹ́ ní ètò àìṣe ní láṣẹ gbé. Bàbá kàmí máa wọ nínú oníṣẹ́ rẹ̀. Bàbá kàmí máa wọ nínú oníṣẹ́ rẹ̀. Má jẹ́ kó kí n tọ́kú, má jẹ́ farabalẹ̀ rẹ̀. Má jẹ́ kó kí n tọ́kú, má jẹ́ farabalẹ̀ rẹ̀. Má jẹ́ bá wọn lọ́dọ̀ láìpẹ́ ní ètò àìṣe ní láṣẹ gbé. Má jẹ́ bá wọn lọ́dọ̀ láìpẹ́ ní ètò àìṣe ní láṣẹ gbé. Ṣe ní láṣẹ gbé. Bàbá mọ̀ pẹ́pẹ́ ọ̀gá mi lọ́rùn ṣe ní láṣẹ gbé. Ṣe ní láṣẹ gbé. Ṣe ní láṣẹ gbé. Bàbá mọ̀ pẹ́pẹ́ ọ̀gá mi lọ́rùn ṣe ní láṣẹ gbé. Ṣe ní láṣẹ gbé. Ṣe ní láṣẹ gbé. Bàbá mọ̀ pẹ́pẹ́ ọ̀gá mi lọ́rùn ṣe ní láṣẹ gbé. Ṣe ní láṣẹ gbé. Ṣe ní láṣẹ gbé. Bàbá mọ̀ pẹ́pẹ́ ọ̀gá mi lọ́rùn ṣe ní láṣẹ gbé. Èyí ló dáhùn ẹ bá mi tọ́jú Abíọ́lá Elégbèdé Fernandez Erelu Kuti ọmọ Balùwẹ̀ ọmọ dára ró dẹjọ́ olóyè mẹ́ta pọ̀ Jagunlabi retí ẹ̀kẹ́ rin sí ọjà rẹ̀. Sure. Ọmọ dára ló lẹjọ́ máa wípé ṣẹlẹ̀rú àgbo ṣẹlẹ̀rú àgbo ọ̀ṣùnkì ń gbà mọ́ rẹ̀ kí dókítà ó tó dé. Ọmọ bìbìrì rẹ̀ lówó ọmọ kábíyì ká ti ń túnra níbí máa ń gbádùn ní tìlẹ̀ kí tàbí lọ́la. Ìpèdè pàdánù ọmọ bá rí gàrí lónìí lọ́nà ọmọ bá rí nílẹ̀ rí lẹ́mí títì àjànàkú tí mi gbọ́ kìjikìji lọ́mọ lára ló lẹ́jọ́. Ṣẹlẹ̀ rúra gbọ́ agbára gbọ́ ṣẹlẹ̀ rúra gbọ́ agbára gbọ́ ọ̀ṣùnkì ń wà mọ́ rẹ̀ kí dókítà ó tó dé. Màmá wípé ó rí ìkóso màmá jọ mọ̀ mí ó kó oníṣàlẹ̀wé màmá mi ó kó. Ó rí ìkóso màmá jọ mọ̀ mí ó kó oníṣàlẹ̀wé màmá mi ó kó. Olúwọ̀run màmá yá mi lẹ́kún fún mi. Ìmàlẹ́ ọba màmá yá mi lẹ́kún. Olúwọ̀run màmá mọ̀dà mi lẹ́. Ìmàlẹ́ ọba màmá mọ̀dà mi lẹ́kún. Olúwọ̀run màmá yá mi lẹ́kún. Ìmàlẹ́ ọba màmá yá mi lẹ́kún. Torí wọ́n bá bẹ láyé á máa súre fún mi lójoojúmọ́. Èdùmàrè ọba màmá yá mi lẹ́kún. Ó kì kó so màmá jọmọ mi ó. Òrìṣà ewé màjà jọmọ mi ó. Ṣẹlẹ̀ rúra bọ́. Ṣẹlẹ̀ rúra bọ́. Ọ̀ṣùnkì ń wẹ̀ mọ́ rẹ̀ kí dókítà ó tó dé. Ọ̀ṣùnkì ń wẹ̀ mọ́ rẹ̀ kí dókítà ó tó dé. Ẹ̀wí kí ni iná kí dókítà ó tó dé. Ọ̀ṣùnkì ń wẹ̀ mọ́ rẹ̀ kí dókítà ó tó dé. Ṣẹlẹ̀ rúra bọ́. Ṣẹlẹ̀ rúra bọ́. Ọ̀ṣùnkì ń wẹ̀ mọ́ rẹ̀ kí dókítà ó tó dé. A máa wí pé ó rí kóso màmá jọmọ mi ló kó. Òrìṣà ewé màjà jọmọ mi ó kó. Ó rí kóso màmá jọmọ mi ó kó. Òrìṣà ewé màjà jọmọ mi ó kó. Olúwọ̀run màmá lẹ́kún. Ìdùmarè ọba màjà mọ̀dà mi lẹ́kún. Olúwọ̀run màmá mọ̀dà mi lẹ́kún. Ìdùmarè ọba màjà mọ̀dà mi lẹ́kún. Olúwọ̀run màmá mọ̀dà mi lẹ́kún fún mi. Ìdùmarè ọba màjà mọ̀dà mi lẹ́kún. Ìyá mi wúrà bàbá mi kíkí ló yàrá. Ìdùmarè ọba màjà mọ̀dà mi lẹ́kún. Ìyá mi wúrà o bàbá mi kíkí ló yàrá. Ìdùmarè ọba màjà mọ̀dà mi lẹ́kún. Ìdùmarè ọba màjà mọ̀dà mi lẹ́kún fún mi. Ìdùmarè ọba màjà mọ̀dà mi lẹ́kún. Olúwọ̀run màmá yá mi lẹ́kún sẹ́. Ayé ń retí ẹlẹ́yà mi o. Wọ́n ń retí ẹlẹ́yà mi o lójoojúmọ́. Wọ́n ti kóra wọn jọ o láti pẹ̀gàn mi. Wọ́n ní mi ò mọ̀júlé àdúrà lójoojúmọ́. Wọ́n rí mi lọ́nà ilé àdúrà wọn máa pẹ̀gàn mi. Wọ́n á lọ tún ti lù lọ. ayé ń retí ẹlẹ́yà mi o. Wọ́n ń retí ẹlẹ́yà mi o lójoojúmọ́. Wọ́n ti kóra wọn jọ o láti gbẹ̀dọ̀ mi. Wọ́n ní mi ò mọ̀ ju ilé àdúrà lójoojúmọ́. Wọ́n rí mi lọ́nà ilé àdúrà wọn máa gbẹ̀dọ̀ mi. Rí bàbá rúbọ nítorí pé torí pé ìwọ ni kì í dojú tì ní. Yo la wá yo, Olúwa gbé òdèlé o. Àjò yóò ní yé mi, ilé bá mi yé mi o, a máa délé o. Sam sí mi dọ̀wọ́ o, bàbá lárọ̀ lọ́rọ̀ mi. Alábìyó mi, bàbá jẹ́ mi snow. Ayọ̀délé ló dàrẹ́tọ̀ dákun, lórí Lọ́rẹ́nsì, bá fọ́ọ̀nù ṣẹ́kùn.
So we are still on.
Adédèjì nínú mo ronú èmi o. Ọkẹ́ra mi, bàbá tó fẹ́ lọ́la o. Wọ́n dé jọ àbọ̀lúfẹ́ mi.
Spotlight your video. Can you pin your video for everyone? Can you pin your video for everyone?
Àríbìbì.
Just pin for the
Bàbá tó yọ ọmọláìjẹ àmì dákun. Yóò sí lójú mi o. Ọ̀pọ̀ wọn sì là.
So have you checked this? You used to, how far would you use it now? But you can check. I just want to show to share already.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. So, the ceremony will be starting in about 10 minutes. We're so sorry for the lateness. Apologies. Thank you.
Ayífẹ́lẹ́ ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ nìyẹn kẹ́ bọ́sàkó. Ayífẹ́lẹ́ ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ nìyẹn bá ṣe máa ń ṣe. Àwa tún ti dé o, kẹ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ kẹ́wọ̀ gbàjọ bóyá. Èrè àsìkò àwọn tó nígbà yẹn wà tó ní àsìkò àwọn tó jẹ́ tiwa. Àwa dé o, kẹ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ tẹ́wọ̀ gbàjọ. Ayífẹ́lẹ́ ti ń fìdí àsìkò fáwọn tó nígbà. Bí mo ti ń lùlù àsìkò fáwọn tó jẹ́ tèmi. Bí ṣe ni kẹ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀ kẹ́ bá mi jọ. Àwa tún ti dé o, kẹ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ kẹ́wọ̀ gbàjọ Ayífẹ́lẹ́. Èrè àsìkò àwọn tó nígbà ìlú wa tó ní àsìkò àwọn tó jẹ́ tiwa. Àwa dé o, kẹ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ tẹ́wọ̀ gbàjọ. Àbíyèsí ìlú ẹ máa kú kalẹ̀, gbogbo lóye ìlú wa ẹ máa kú kalẹ̀, ọmọ ilé ìwé ẹ máa kú kalẹ̀, ẹ kú àsìkò yìí kájọ máa gbádùn bọ̀. Àwa tún ti dé o, kẹ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ tẹ́wọ̀ gbàjọ yá. Èrè àsìkò àwọn tó nígbà ìlú wa tó ní àsìkò àwọn tó jẹ́ tiwa. Àwa dé o, kẹ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ tẹ́wọ̀ gbàjọ. Ẹ̀yin ará ìlú ẹ máa kú kalẹ̀, lọ́mọdé àtàlàgbà ẹ máa kú kalẹ̀, takọtabo ìlú ẹ máa kú kalẹ̀, tonílé tàlejò ìlú ẹ máa kú kalẹ̀. Ayífẹ́lẹ́ ti o, kẹ́ dìde tẹ́wọ̀ gbàjọ óyá. Èrè àsìkò àwọn tó nígbà ìlú wa tó ní àsìkò àwọn tó jẹ́ tiwa. Àwa dé o, kẹ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ tẹ́wọ̀ gbàjọ. Ó gbọ́ wípé wọ́n ní wọ́n pé many people say still many people ló sọ wípé I say many people say síbẹ̀ Ayífẹ́lẹ́ ò lè dìde. Wọ́n ní still Ayífẹ́lẹ́ ò lè dìde. Bẹ́ẹ̀ àwọn kan náà dá mi. Àwọn kan náà dá mi. Wọ́n sì ń sọ̀rọ̀ bí Elédùmarè. Àwọn kan náà dá mi, ayé fẹ́lẹ́ o. Àwọn kan náà dá mi, ayé nǹkan. Àwọn kan náà dá mi, bí wọ́n bá sọ̀rọ̀ kí Ẹlẹ́dùmarè. Àwọn kan náà dá mi. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni tẹ̀lé, àṣìjọ máa bá wọn rìn padà ní tẹ̀lé, máa bá wọn rìn padà.
Thank you. Yeah. As in no coming today, we just have.
Èmi ti rójú rere rẹ̀ o. Èdùmàrè ti ṣẹ́gun fún mi. Ayé fẹ́lẹ́, èmi máa ti rójú rere rẹ̀ o. Èdùmàrè ṣe mí lógo. Àdúrà tí mo gbà o. Bàbá ti mú wọlé àṣẹ o. Mo sì mọ̀ wípé máa gbé sí ọ̀gbọ̀n. Èwe làgbà ẹ wá bá mi mọ̀. Ọlọ́láyé ló ní tèmi jọ. Ọlọ́láyé mo bá ròde o. Prince ọmọ ṣógun ló. Ọkọ bíkì bébì. Bàbá Princess Ayọ̀mídé. Tọ́jú Ọláwálé mi ra wẹ́sù. Ọ̀rẹ́ sún kàn mí kò yẹ mí. Tọ́jú láti rọmọ ìyá sẹlẹ̀. Ògùn bọ̀ ṣòdò bẹ́ẹ̀rì lọ. Ọkọ̀ ṣọ́ọ̀lì bẹ́ẹ̀. Ẹ tọ́jú rẹ̀ lẹ́lẹ̀ ní Chicago. Ẹ bá mi tọ́jú jàmẹ́ nílùú London. Ọlọ́láyé tó ní tèmi. Ọlọ́láyé mo bá ròde. Chief Mrs. Anna Apapa. Èyí àpèsè ọ̀la nílùú rẹ̀ jẹ́. Ọ̀rẹ́ tí wọ́n ìrètí tó rí Ṣadé. Ẹ bá mi tọ́jú Kẹ́hìndé pípín láàrin. Kẹ́hìndé ó ní owó lọ́kọ̀ ohun mi. Ẹ bá mi tọ́jú Táyé pípín láàrin. Àyàgòkè onílùú dé. Tọkọtaya Radéjì ní. Bàbá Radéjì ṣe tọ́jú màmá Déròǹkẹ́. Mrs. Nafapa Lógún, Aya IG. Mrs. Biola mi ròyìn o, l'Amẹ́ríkà o. Ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Kọ́lá Fámúrewá kò lè yàtọ̀ sí wọn. Ẹ̀rọ ní Kàràdéyẹmí. Àyàmọ̀fà iye mo bá ròde. Aláṣẹ Prince Wade nílùú Greece. Aláṣẹ Queen Africa nílùú Greece. Ìyá alájẹ ti ìlú Greece. Màmá Bíọ́lá, màmá Kehinde. Gbogbo broad members ẹ yàtọ̀ bàjẹ́. Ẹ̀yin tèmi in the house. Ẹ yàtọ̀ jọ. Ọ̀túnba Olúmídé Adébíyé. Olówó rírọ̀ kọ́kẹ́ ní ìyèjì rẹ̀. Ẹ yàtọ̀ jọ. Ẹ yàtọ̀ jọ. Ẹ̀yin tèmi báyé yẹ gbogbo pàtàkì alẹ́ ti dalẹ̀. Ẹ̀yin tèmi báyé yẹ gbogbo pàtàkì alẹ́ ti dalẹ̀. Káàmì lọ́lá Sunday mi ò ní. Ọ̀rẹ́ tí máa ṣẹ́gun àwòsù. Hello. Láti tọ́jú ọ̀dọ́ bá wà lọ́sọ̀rọ̀. I will be seated, please. Where don't you volunteer me? I will be seated, please. You by Finland, Balo.
today's great occasion. It's the birthday of our father, our grandfather, and our uncle. He's 85 today, and we give all glory to God. This song is equally the 25th anniversary of the Kehinde Foundation. Kehinde Danmole Foundation, apologies, sir. Kehinde Danmole Foundation is 25th anniversary. And today, we are celebrating the legacy of engagement and empowerment. And we'll kickstart the ceremony. It's an opening prayer by Mr. Tunde Bajumo.
Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad kama sallaita wa ala ali Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Before we pray for our celebrants, we'd like you to observe a minute silence in memory of the late sister who also remained today, Alaja Taiwo Danmole. And if you know Kulu Allah, throughout a class, please need silence. I hope the screen is up and showing a photo of her. 1 minute silence. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum, la ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm, lahu ma fis samawati wa ma fil ardh. Man alladhi yasra al-mulka wa yasi'u kursiyyu as-samawati wal ardh. Well, I so for you to we are very thankful for the life of our celebrant. It's been a very blessed life. Almighty Allah has been very merciful to him. We acknowledge the blessings of Almighty Allah on him, a distinguished soldier, officer, and gentleman. Almighty Allah has blessed him with all these wonderful children, many professors, many professionals, architects, pharmacists, and so many of his children, protégés, and people like us who were his mentors. Allah has been merciful to him. We thank Allah for his life. We thank Allah for the Kehinde people over the past 25 years. Many have been involved in the activities of the foundation. Some of them are not with us today. We pray for Allah to forgive their sins and count them amongst the followers of the Prophet Jannah. For our celebrants and the speakers today, we pray for longer life in good health. A lot of our speakers, if you look at the way this event has been arranged, it's season of professionals, but professionals who are also family and long-term friends. So may Allah increase them in wisdom. May Allah increase everyone who is involved there, everyone who is here today. May Allah guide and bless you.
Let's go on the boat. So yeah,
this a worthy occasion for us and bless us all. ربنا اغفر لنا صبرا فصابرا منوفا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. ربنا ولا تحملنا ولا تكلنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا انت معنا فانصرنا عليهم. ربنا اغفر لنا صبرا وتوفنا مسلمين. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين عليهم المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين آمين سبحان ربك رب العزة والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله صلوا على النبي الكريم.
Thank you, Juma.
There's no problem, but say the videos are great.
Yes, so when I'll get out the
Paul about this time 25 years ago. So we give God thanks for the insight and the impact. The Kehinde Danmole Foundation is a non-governmental endowment for education, healthcare, empowerment, and environmental sustainability. It was founded by Major retired Kehinde Danmole as an avenue to consolidate his philanthropic activities and a forum to channel energies towards improving the living standard of mankind, as well as the preservation of man's harmony with his environment. The foundation is a borderless and boundaryless, non-religious, non-profit organization, and it obtained its charter on June 27th, 2005. The aim of the foundation is to advance and support the well-being of all people of our world in all areas and fields of human endeavor that enable them to fully actualize their endowments. Effectively, the foundation focuses on contributing to education, healthcare delivery, human growth and development, and the environment. Over the last 25 years, we have organized public lectures on stress, management, prostate, and other cancers. We have distributed information manuals on retirement planning, wellness, financial empowerment. The foundation has also sponsored eye tests and eye health campaigns at some secondary schools in Lagos and donated computers and other equipment to specialized for the rehabilitation of the blind. We have instituted prizes and trophies for academic excellence at various educational institutions, including the Vivian Fowler Memorial College for Girls, the Wesley School for the Deaf and Hearing Impaired of Lagos. Furthermore, the foundation has awarded scholarships to students at both undergraduate and postgraduate levels in selected Nigerian universities. And we're proud to announce that one of the scholarship awardees recently completed doctoral studies in analytical chemistry. The foundation constantly collaborates with other non-governmental organizations on programs targeted at social inclusion and empowerment of vulnerable members of our society. And our current efforts are geared towards a more impactful intervention in the 5 focal areas, especially as it relates to supporting people with disabilities to achieve their highest potential. We're celebrating the birthday of the founder of the foundation, and he has requested that in lieu of gifts, that donations be made to the foundation to support the work that we are doing. So we will share the account numbers where you can send in your checks, or you can have a chat with Olalumpe Atunrashe or myself if you would like to, if you'd like some more information. And now to the celebrant of today, the person we're honoring, Major Kehinde Danmole. He was born on the 8th of August in 1940. He attended St. Paul's School, Breadfruit, Davis Street, Lagos, and then proceeded to Molusi College, Ijebu-Igbo between 1957 and 1961. Between finishing school in 1961 and October 1963, he was employed at the Federal Ministry of Communications and subsequently at Post and P&T in Lagos. A desire to serve his fatherland saw him choose a career in the military. He was given admission to the Nigerian Defense Academy as a pioneer officer cadet of regular course 1. Simultaneously, he was selected to join the Nigerian Air Force as a pioneer officer cadet. He chose to join the Air Force. He attended the Officer Cadet Military Training College between 1963 and 64 at the Nigerian Air Force Military Training School. He served as logistics officer based in Kaduna, and he went abroad for the supply specialist management and logistics course at the Nachschule der Luftwaffe in Erding, Germany. On returning from Germany in 1966, he was employed at the Nigerian Civil Aviation Training Center, now College of Aviation Technology in Zaria. And shortly after that, he was granted a direct commission to the Nigerian Army in the rank of full lieutenant. His regiment, the Ordnance Corps, and he fought gallantly alongside other officers and Nigerian Civil War. He fought in various, including Abak, Ikom, Calabar, Owerri, and Port Harcourt. He was the commanding officer of the 3rd Marine Commando Ordnance Field Depot and After the war, he attended many courses in financial and material accounting and obtained an advanced diploma in purchasing and supply management from the Commonwealth and Foreign Officers Ordnance School, Blackdown, Surrey, England. He's an associate member of the Royal Chartered Institute of Purchasing and Supply Management, and he served at the Nigerian Army Central Ordnance Depot, Yaba, and retired in December 1975 as the commandant of the Nigerian Army Ordnance Technical Training School, Ojo Cantonment. For courage and gallantry in the service of his nation, he has been awarded the Republic Medal, the Defense Service Medal, the National Service Medal, and the General Service Medal of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Since retirement, he has channeled his energies towards other businesses, including real estate and the establishment of Kendam Limited, an educational aid supply company. He enjoys sporting and has been member of the Lagos State University Sports Council, Lagos State Sports Council, and chairman of Lagos State Amateur Cycling and Athletics Association, respectively. He is a commander of the House of Blessings in Eco Club. He's an avid coin and stamp collector. He's widely traveled, and he believes that life is not worth living if you don't lend a helping hand. As such, over the last 25 years, he has committed to helping the less privileged through the instrumentality of the Kehinde Danmole Foundation, as well as other organizations that have similar causes. These include the Boy Scout movement. He's a trustee of the Deaf and Blind Association of Nigeria. He has served as member of the Board of Governors of Atundaolu School for the Physically Challenged and Wesley School for Deaf and Dumb Children. He's a trustee of the Vivian Fowler Trust Foundation for University Education. He's a member of the Executive Council of the Nigerian Society for the Blind, and he is also chairman of the Kehinde Danmole Foundation. He is a blessed father and grandfather and great-grandfather, and we are very proud of him and happy to celebrate him today. Thank you.
Grandfather.
And excuse me, for every great occasion, there is always a chairman. And to give a brief remark of the occasion, we call on Chief Olufalomo to give the remark of the day. Thank you. Chief Olufalomo. Go ahead, yeah. We are sorry about that. We will get back to that in the course of the event. Thank you. And to move to the next event, and to run the keynotes of the event, we call on Mrs. Balogun Adeyemi. Mrs. Balogun Adeyemi, are you around?
All right, the keynote speaker, Mr. Olayimika Olasore, please can you stand? Thank you. So, thank you very much. I'm very honored to be reading your citation. So, Mr. Olayinka Olasore is a legal practitioner called to the Nigerian bar in December 1992. And in his earlier years at the bar, he practiced at the law firm of Femi Okuno & Co., where he was exposed to a wide range of land matters across the country. Until 2020, when he decided to set up his own boutique practice, Rooftop Chambers, Mr. Olasore was a partner in the top-tier law firm of SPA Ajibade & Co., leading the real estate and succession department. In his position as partner at Sparco for close to 2 decades, Mr. Olasore handled several top-notch clients in areas straddling litigation, land, succession matters, and general consultancy. He co-authored an appraisal of selected real estate laws in Nigeria, contained in the book A Review of Contemporary Legal Trends in Nigeria, which was published in 2017 by LexisNexis. He also authored the practice notes on registration of instruments in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, in the Graffitas Review of Business and Property Law in 2016. He has contributed to various business and property law review journals. And as an officer of ASTEP, he has participated in several webinars on topics such as liabilities of trust companies as executors, trustees, succession to digital assets, and registration of vesting instruments at the Lagos State Lands Registry. In January 2020, he founded Rooftop Chambers, law firm specializing in real estate and succession law, as well as commercial law and litigation. Mr. Olasore specializes in succession law, estate planning, real estate, and has represented several individuals, families, and corporations dealing with complex succession issues. He's also a legal advisor to top trust companies. He's an active barman, both locally and internationally, being a member of various associations, including the Nigerian Bar Association, International Bar Association, Real Estate Committee, and he is an affiliate member of the American Bar Association. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in putting your hands together for our keynote speaker.
Thank you so much, Professor Saibat. Good afternoon, our daddies, our mommies, aunties, and uncles. For me today, this is a very humbling experience because I see in the audience uncles and aunties who knew me even when I was in my mother's womb. So it is indeed a privilege for me to be here today to talk about a very, very important and sensitive topic. When Uncle Kehinde mentioned the topic of today to me, I did not hesitate at all to accept to be the keynote speaker. This is due to the fact that in my early years in practice, under the tutelage of Alhaji Femi Okunu, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Commander of the Federal Republic, I was with him for 8 years, and I was privy, by virtue of that relationship, to be involved in sensitive family matters involving prominent Lagos families on the issues relating to succession and inheritance. And it was from that time in 1992 that I developed interest and expertise in this area of the law.
That's nice. Sometimes you said that.
The Kehinde Danmole Foundation has delivered 3 public lectures so far. The first one was in 2010. It focused on education, healthcare, human growth and development, and the environment. The second one in 2015 was on prevention of blindness and free eye screening exercise. And the third one was on prostate and other cancers. I'm giving this background for us to understand that the celebrant today is a very, very contemplative and deliberate person. He is also a very caring person. The topics he has chosen very carefully are topics that we all should dwell and ponder upon. Uncle Mu, you are welcome, sir. So today's lecture is on legacy. And when we had our discussion on it, he told me, Yinka, most of my contemporaries don't give enough consideration to this issue of what happens after they have gone. They take things for granted. So I want you to deliver this lecture. So we're going to start now. And I'm going to start by trying to explain what is estate planning. In simple language, estate planning is a deliberate process of arranging, managing, and disposing of one's assets and affairs whilst one is still alive. So people have to sit down and make a deliberate effort to say that I want to put my affairs. And how do we go about doing this? There are 3 main instruments. You have wills, you have trust, and you have gifts. Talking about wills, in the early days of my practice in Alhaji Okunu's chambers, we had a client who was 95 years old then. And he used to come to chambers usually after Jumat. So Alhaji told me, this is your client, he wants to make a will, so take care of it. So we started with the will, and we wrote the first set of will. And then he came back a month after, and he said he had to change some things in the will. We changed it. So within 6 months, he had come on. Also, an elderly Lagosian at that time. He has passed on now, God bless his soul. So after the 5th change of will, I said, Baba Ewa, I'll continue by.
you can't be changing your will all the time. What is actually happening? So what he told me is very instructive to this lecture. He said, Yinka, I went to America last year, and I was able to get a pair of digital hearing enhancement aid. So what Baba did when he went to America to visit his daughter was he got access to a pair of digital hearing aids so he could hear things better than he could ever. So he said, so apparently, Baba would sit down and be listening to the children talking about him. So he will come back. Yinka, I'm removing Bayo as my executor. So we did that about 5 times. I had to ask him that, why do you keep changing your will? So that was the reason he gave me. So later when we talk about testamentary capacity, I'll dwell more on this point. So when it comes to wills, you have to sit down and give instructions for your will to be written. And for those who don't want to write a will, there is something we call trust. And my sister is here, Mrs. Tewogbade of UTL. UTL used to be a subsidiary of Union Bank. What they do is they are a trust company. So for those who don't want to do wills, they can go by way of creating a trust. And a trust can be a living trust. It can be a trust in your lifetime such that you only have access to the rents, or, you know, there are ways that they go about it. There are also gifts. In a person's lifetime, you could say, I'm giving Taibat the property in Banana Island. Uncle, I hope I'm not exposing you. The property in Banana Island. So you have wills, we have trust, we have gifts, and we have other directives. Those are the components of estate planning. And why do we have estate planning? What are the goals of estate planning? We want to preserve wealth, we want to protect our dependents, we want to minimize taxes and liabilities, and we want to ensure an orderly transfer of property when we are no more. So why don't many people have an estate plan? The reasons they usually give, I have not gotten around to it, even at 90, 95, 100. I have not found an estate practitioner. And this is a very common problem, because to write a will is a sensitive procedure. You need to get a professional who, for example, will not call the beneficiaries, say, finger conle fun. That is the recipe for disaster in a family. So when people say that I have not found an estate practitioner, it is a real life problem, because our work as estate practitioners requires a lot of trust, integrity, and confidence. And these qualities are very much in high demand in our environment and indeed other environments. Another reason is I don't believe my assets are worth enough. I just have a few millions. Why should I write a will? No, I can't write a will. I'm not a billionaire. That is not right. I don't feel the next generation can handle wealth, or it is against my belief. So these are the reasons why people usually abstain from an estate plan. They will say, I just don't have time to do it. I have not found the right lawyer to do it. I don't have enough money to live for anybody, or enough assets, just my property here, or I don't believe the generation can handle wealth. So Bob Marley made a statement. My faith does not prohibit me from recognizing my mortality. Mortality is real, and it takes a bold person to face the issues of mortality. That, what is the legacy when I'm no more? What am I leaving for the children? How am I going to ensure orderly distribution of my wealth? So that is the topic we're talking about today. And I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible. People say that the difference between lawyers and accountants is that at least the accountant knows it's boring. But lawyers, they just go on talking and talking and all that. But I'm going to avoid to do that today. So when it comes to wills, there are some cases where a will would have helped. We know about Prince the musician. There was a 6-year legal battle because he did not write a will in 2016. Aretha Franklin also died intestate. She had 4 sons and they fought themselves to a standstill over our estate. Now, don't get me wrong that it is compulsory, you must write a will. There have been cases where wills have been written and they did not help matters. I represented the executors of the estate of the Ogbeni Oja, Adeola Odutola, and even though Ogbeni Oja left a will, some of the children still contested that will up to the Supreme Court. And one of the reasons why the will was in contest was the allegation that the late Ogbeni Oja did not have what we lawyers call corpus mentis, that he lacked the mental capacity to write a will and that the will should be set aside. One of the children who challenged the will, incidentally, had applied to the late Ogbeni Oja for a loan, a friendly loan, a family loan. And the letter she wrote was one of the major pieces of evidence that we used to show that the person you wrote this letter to, where you were making a good case why you should be granted a loan, if he did not have the capacity, why were you so persuasive in this letter to your father? So there are times where there are wills and families still go into squabbles, and there are times when there is no will and the family, they are still able to do things. For example, the estate of my late great-grandfather, the Chief Imam L.B. Augusto. In his lifetime, he made it clear that one of the children who had joined the Sele sect, he was not going to recognize blah, 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 blah. And he did not leave a will. So when Baba died, all the children, led by my grandmother, who was the eldest, they went to Jamatul Islamia, the mosque where he founded. They prayed over his final resting place. And they distributed the assets of Chief Imam equally amongst all of them, including Yagege, the late Mrs. Akeju, Cousin T's mom, who is the person I'm referring to. So there are times when there is a will and there are problems, and there are times when there is no will and there are still problems. So we're just advocating an ideal situation, that it is still better for a person to speak from death. These are my last wishes and testament. Chief F.R.A. Williams died testate, and the battle over his estate is still going on amongst his children and his grandchildren. Why should you consider an estate plan? In Nigeria today, there is over 1 trillion in unclaimed dividends, shares, and dormant accounts, which remain inaccessible due to lack of estate planning. Unclaimed dividends means that the testator, that is the person who died, did not leave enough information for the beneficiaries to trace the shareholdings in various companies. So we have unclaimed dividends, shares, and dormant accounts in Nigeria over 1 trillion naira. Why should you consider an estate plan? Number one is control. You want to have control over the assets you have labored in your lifetime for. You want to protect your children. You want to secure your legacy. And in terms of control, the examples I'm going to give, there is no issue of client confidentiality because they are public examples. Dr. Tosin Ajayi, for example, we all know what happened to his estate with the lady Ellen Press, etc., etc. In terms of protecting children, Michael Jackson was able to appoint guardians to act as guardians for his children. So estate planning is for everyone, not just the wealthy. Now, when it comes to writing a will, what are the elements of a valid will? It must be voluntary. There must be testamentary capacity. That is, you must understand that you are making a will and the effect of making a will. You must know the nature and extent of the property you are bequeathing in the will. You must appreciate the claims of potential beneficiaries. And you must be free of mental disorders affecting decisions. The elements of a valid will, generally 18 years of age, and it has to be testamentary. A will cannot take effect until after a person has passed on, and it can be changed or revoked during life. That is why we say that the will is ambulatory. There are two types of wills. You have the statutory will, which is the will that follows the English law, and you have the privileged wills for soldiers in active service, not soldiers like Uncle Kenny who are no longer in active service. When you were in active service, your will will have come under a privileged will, but you are no longer in service, so your will has to conform to the statutory form. How can a will be revoked? By marriage. So when it comes to marriage, we all remember the case of, or we all remember who Festus Okotie-Eboh was. So Festus Okotie-Eboh, the late minister in the First Republic, had a customary marriage. And when he died in the 1966 coup, his widow, Jadisimi, sued children and others over the will of Festus Okotie-Eboh. Now, Festus Okotie-Eboh had conducted a customary marriage. And the contention in that case was that that customary marriage has revoked the previous will, which was later discovered. So a will can be revoked by marriage except customary marriage. That was the old in Okotie-Eboh's case. If a man writes a will today and he gets married the next day, automatically that will he wrote before the marriage, if it is not a customary marriage, is revoked and he has to write a new will. Destruction of the will. A will has to be destroyed. And what the law says is that all the intention in the world cannot destroy a will, and all the intention cannot destroy a will. There must be an intention to destroy it, and there must be a physical act of destroying. Defacing a will by just canceling it does not revoke a will. The will has to be destroyed. Also, the third way a will can be revoked is by execution of a codicil or a written declaration. So where a person has written a will, there are only three ways that the will can be revoked: by marriage, except a customary marriage, by destruction of the will, or by execution of a will or written declaration. Now, after a will is written and the testator passes on, the will has to be probated. And what does probate means? Probate means the will has to be proved. And when a will is being proved, the validity can be challenged by any person who is a beneficiary. So when you want to understand probate, you have discovery of the will. The will has to be discovered. And a will is usually discovered either because the testator has told his children or family members that, oh, my will is with my lawyer, or my will has been lodged in the probate registry, or my will is under my pillow. Then the application for grant of probate in the High Court of Lagos State, and then the reading of the will. So the will has to be read. The timeline for probate usually is about 3 to 6 months for non-contentious probate, and 1 or 2 years plus for contentious probates where the families are at war. Now, what are the issues in contemporary probate practice? There is the issue of valuation and assessment. In Lagos State, if a man has 1 billion naira in his account, there is estate duty of 10% of that, which is 100 million payable to the state government. If a man has a property that is assessed at 2 billion naira, the fair market value of that property will accrue to the state. 10% of the value will accrue to the state. So the problem we usually face is the testator does not have liquid assets, but he has real estate assets. And they now have to pay so much money to the government before they can step into those properties. So are they expected to sell one property and use the money to pay for the others? So it's usually a problem, valuation. So, and that is why we advise people that, why don't you try and take care of these things before you pass on? And I'll give a notable example. About 3 years ago, I had a client who had funds in the bank in excess of 800 million. And he said, look, I'm tired. Find me a solution. People say, I've spoken to this judge, they recommended, find me a solution. So I said, Baba, how many children do you have? He said he had 6 children. Can you give me one, the most trusted of your children? So he presented the last born, who was then only 25 years old. And when I interviewed her, I realized why the old man had nominated the lady. And what was the advice we gave? Why don't you make her a joint signatory to your account so that when you pass on, she can continue operating the account, she will have access to the money, and you will avoid paying 80 million naira to Lagos State government. And that was what he did. We created what is called a trust instrument for the lady so that the other children will be aware that she is being made a party to this account for the purpose of accessing the funds after the man has passed on and for distribution within 6 months after he passes on. So we need to be very, very careful about how we handle cash balances. Cash balances left in the account upon demise attracts a 10% duty to Lagos State government. The same thing with real estate. Now, shares and investment. This involve complex transfers, especially with outdated registries. So as an estate practitioner, we are still grappling with consolidation of shares, consolidation of dividends, simply because the deceased did not leave a good roadmap. We are at the mercy of registrars, we are at the mercy of stockbrokers to collect shares and make meaningful sense out of them. But if there is an estate plan, all this can be avoided. Now, cross-border assets. So this will apply to the younger elements in the lecture. That is some of us who have acquired assets abroad. How do you handle cross-border assets? So in the UAE, where a lot of Nigerians have invested, you find out that when people take part in the development schemes in Dubai, and that person passes on with some funds yet to be paid to complete the transaction, it is usually a problem. We now have to engage lawyers in Dubai, and they don't recognize certain things here. They'll tell you, you have to come to Dubai, the UAE, submit to our laws, get letters of administration before the wife or the children can step into the development. And while that is going on, interest is building on the balances that are supposed to be paid before you can access. So cross-border assets requires a lot of expertise. Those who have property in London, there is estate duty to the Queen. So people need to realize that it is too simplistic to say that the children will take care of themselves. I've educated them, they are okay. You really need to be able to speak from wherever you are to say, this is how I want this thing to be done. There is also digital assets. I know most of major retired Danmole's contemporaries will not buy cryptocurrency. They will not buy e-wallets. But some of our generation buy Bitcoins and they buy all these digital assets. And the problem we have now is when passwords are forgotten, the asset is lost. Once the password is forgotten, the asset is lost for all time. So we lawyers have devised a notebook for some of our high network clients that once you devise a password, please write it down and let us know where you are keeping it. Because even doing online banking, even at my relatively young age, I need to write my passwords or use a password that comes readily to mind. And when you now change that password, you may, so it's when it comes to digital assets, and I'm talking to the younger elements in the crowd, in the audience, pardon my word. Estate planning is very, very important. So there was a case of the man, I think the documentary is on Netflix, where the chip, he mistakenly threw the chip into the garbage. And he has gone to great extents trying to retrieve that chip. There's a documentary on Netflix. I can't remember the title, but it shows you how complex digital assets are. So what happens when the original will is lost? Where a will is missing or cannot be found, there is a presumption in law of revocation. Nobody is going to come to say, oh, I read the will to my father and I can reconstruct it. Once the will is missing, the implication in law is that that will has been revoked. The burden of proof of a will lies on the person who is propounding it. That's the word we use in law. The person who is propounding a will means the person who is coming to the probate registry to say, this is the will of Mr. ABC, come and read it and let us have probate of this will. So if that will is challenged by somebody, and that person is the claimant in court, normally in court, it is the person who goes to court who has the burden of proof to prove his case. But where a person goes to court to challenge a will against a person who is propounding or supporting a will, the law is that the propounder of the will, the defender, the person who is coming to say this is the will, he has the burden of proving the will first. When he proves that the will is valid according to the Wills Act or law, then the burden shifts to the person who called the case to challenge the will. So that is the intricate thing about validity of wills. So where do we keep wills? Usually at home with the executor or the lawyer or at the probate registry. What property may be disposed of by will? Personal property, real property. But there are limitations. There are some properties that you cannot devise. Joint tenancy. So Mr. and Mrs. Jelili own a property together, and Mr. Jelili passes on. The property automatically passes to Mrs. Jelili. That is the law. We call it jus accrescendi. The law, the ownership of the property passes on to the surviving joint owner. The other property that you may not dispose of by will is family communal property. So if you are entitled to 1/3 of 2123 Bangboshe, you cannot, if you're entitled to a portion of a property in Bangboshe Street, you cannot devise that property by will unless it has been partitioned. Tenancy in common is also the same thing, where people own properties in common. Only your share can be devised. So what happens if a person does not have a will? We call it intestacy. So when a person dies with a will, the person dies testate. When a person dies without a will, the person dies intestate. And when a person dies intestate, the property is distributed under the administration of estates law. And if the person is a Muslim, it is distributed according to Islamic law. In Islamic law, we have faraid. Only 1/3 can be disposed by will. And then the rest, the Islamic law has categories of beneficiaries. It is a very, very comprehensive way of estate planning. There is gender differentiation. The male heir receives twice what the female heir receives. And then there are categories. There are those who are entitled to fixed shares. There are those who are entitled to the residue of the estate. And there are those who are entitled or who are excluded totally from taking a share in the property. So how can a will be challenged? Lack of testamentary capacity. In a case of Banks and Goodfellow, Mr. Banks had mental illness, and he had been in and out of the hospital for his treatment. But he wrote a will at some point or the other. And what the court held was that at the point when he wrote that will, he was lucid. So lack of testamentary capacity is not an umbrella. The court can still hold that even though a person lacked testamentary capacity, at some point or the other, he was probably lucid and the will can be upheld. Undue influence or coercion, fraud or forgery, failure to meet legal formalities. So apart from a will, what are the other options? We have gift, we have trust. And the questions we need to reflect upon are, why don't I have an estate plan? What will I gain if I have one? What will I lose if I don't? So the most important step in protecting your loved ones is to make a will. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yinka Olashewere. That was a very brilliant delivery. We thank you so much. And we hope we're going to call you again soon. Questions can come up later. Audience interaction. We will appreciate that. And it can equally be sent anonymously to our website. We're going to attend to every question. Thank you. And in the course of the keynote address, the chairman came in. That is the person of Chief Olufalomo, and we'll be happy to get your address today. Thank you, Chief Olufalomo. Thank you. Don't worry, I can see. Yes, oh, whichever way you want, you can sit down. No, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
Kehinde, we've been coming a long way. And I like you the way you take me for granted. Because he strolled into my house the other day and said, something is happening today. Chairman, chairman. And he said, well, agreed to be chairman. We met several years ago as Rotarians. And he became my running mate almost instantly. So wherever I moved, Kenny also moved. Whatever interest I had, particularly in charity, Kenny followed. We were there supporting the physically challenged children. Then we moved to the visually challenged, where we still are till today. There are other things that bring us together, but that will not be the subject of our discussion today. Kenny, many happy returns. You are aging gracefully. But I'm still your Egbon anyway. And we still have Egbon here too. Àwọn Ẹ̀gbọ́n ọdún kan àtàwọn bàbá wa ká máa dúpẹ́. We are so glad to see all of you. I'm the wrong person to speak about the state. Not even to talk about will. Because personally, I do not believe in amassing wealth. I don't believe it. I don't believe in it. Well, the good Lord has been kind to people like me. We have enough to keep us going. But I emulate my papa here. A good name. I say it loud and clear. A good name is much better than anything else. And so some of us strive to have in life is a good name. Kenny, you have not taken me to your property on Banana Island. So why you are bringing us together to come and talk about how you will distribute the whole thing, I still don't understand. But the good Lord will continue to guide you. 85 is a day. When you think of those who have gone, you'll understand that 85 is no mean achievement. So by the grace of God, what 85 no 90. Hello. And by the grace of God, I pray I should be there. And when you're celebrating your 95, I pray that I should be there. The one, when you are going to celebrate your 100, I pray for those who will be there. Thank you very much for starting this foundation 25 years ago. We were all there to support you, and you've kept it on ever since. I think the last time we met, was it 5 years ago? I think I was also the chairman. By the grace of God, in 5 years' time, I pray I should still be the chairman. what you have started, my prayer is that it will live beyond you. Thank God you are blessed with wonderful children. When you get to a stage of having them achieve what they have achieved so far, professor, everybody making their own waves. All we can say is that Dada lójú ẹ máa rí o. Inka, blessings. You have marvelously treated the subject. Even though I have nothing, for several years ago, I asked my lawyer to write me a will. Very, very simple. One page. I don't have much. And I have no intention of having much. Because my prayer has always been that the children should make it in my own lifetime. And by the grace of God, they are making it. And they are making sure that I'm happy. And I can see one or two people here whose children that have made it in their lifetime through their prayer, through their support. I lump them together in the will. If you like, after I may have gone, go and kill yourselves over nothing. Made two of them to join the executors, a male and a female. Or should it be a female and a male? Because the female is more senior than the male. And my trusted relations help us to look after these children. Just make sure they have nothing to. In fact, I have handed over the little I have. And I always say that maybe it's a sin to have a child who's a chartered accountant. Because when I was about 75, I went to the bank. I think it was First Bank on that occasion. And I saw an elderly man who was 80. And to write a check, his hand was shaking. So I had assumed that by the time I would be 80, my hand would be shaking. Well, I don't know what I have done that the hand is not shaking. So I decided that, look, I will make, because my daughter had become a chartered accountant, I will make her look after everything. So I entrusted everything to her. The consequence, of course, is every time I want to spend, Daddy, what do you need? You know you have a father, only for Achi. He has to go to Island Club. He has to go to Ikoyi Club. So why are you asking? What do you need the money for? That battle is still ongoing. But àdúrà wa lọ́ọ̀ di pé kọ́mọ dáadáa gbẹ̀yìn wa o. Kọ́mọ dáadáa gbẹ̀yìn gbogbo yín o. Kenny, thank you very much for your foundation. You've been of support to less privileged people. And it's become part of your culture. A lot of people forget that their fingers are not equal. They own a lot. But Yinka has been telling us that no matter how much you try, you can't take these things to heaven. You have to leave them out here. Why don't you spend part of it, allocate part of it to the less privileged? And they are bound all over the place. When we get to this age, we really we can't eat much. I don't know about the rest of you, but I can't eat much. If I'm lucky to have breakfast, maybe I will struggle to have dinner. So why all the struggle? Why don't we emulate Major Danmole and spare some thought for the less privileged? And I must acknowledge that there are people here, I'm looking at them and they're looking at me, who have spent the last part of 50 years looking after the underprivileged, the less privileged. God will continue to bless you. Our Papa, Shama, I'm so delighted to see you here. Even at your age, well over 90, you still go and look after the visually impaired. And the problem is that you are always there punctually, because people like me come in late punctually. Ó ti dáa rí kò dáa mọ́ ìyẹn ò ní jẹ́ tiyín o. Á tún máa dá sí ni. Those of you who have not imbibed the spirit of supporting the less privileged, please take a note and learn from Major Danmole. He decided 25 years ago that he was going to support the less privileged. I can't remember whether you discussed it with me or not, but because we were on the same wavelength, I had no choice but to say, look, go ahead, and the good Lord will support you. And the good Lord has supported you up to this moment. There will be a panel, I believe, to discuss Yinka's paper. Very thoughtful of you, very comprehensive. For those who have property all over Lagos and beyond, even in the flood-prone areas, I wish them luck. For those of us who believe that one property is enough, but that one property must be worth it, God will continue to bless us too. We thought, because even that small one that I have, I used to have tenants, but I couldn't bear asking people to pay me rent. No, I still couldn't. I made a mistake when I moved my office to the house, because I had to collapse it when I was getting older. So I didn't want to let out the second house. But my children brought pressure. Daddy, don't do that, don't do this. No, I don't like taking rent. So finally we agreed to take in a tenant. And you know, new tenants, they like very quickly they will pay the first 2 years rent in advance. And after that, you had to chase them around. My tenant then, God bless him wherever he is, gave me a check to renew his rent. The check bounced. Oh, the check came back. Let me know, use non-technical language. The check came back, and my lawyer said to me, we must take him to EFCC. And I said, what if we get there and the EFCC chairman is his brother? I will then turn out to be the embarrassed person. Let us forget it. I was looking at him. He was staying in my house. He was doing business in Abuja. I said, no, what? Nothing. After 2 years, he came up one day and said to me, excuse me, is your account in First Bank still active? I said, of course it is. Hope nothing. He said, no, you will hear from me before noon. And before noon, he deposited what he thought he was owing me, which was far short of what I know he was owing me. But I was grateful. What if he didn't pay anything? When I go to court, they are adjourning it every day. I don't believe in problems. I prayed to my God. I worked hard to build a house. So if the good Lord thought it was time for him to leave, he will leave. So about a couple of hours later, I got an alert and the money was in the bank. And he started, he paid it less 800,000 naira. So he gave me a written undertaking that by so time, I understand. That by so time, he will redeem the balance. That was about 12 years ago. I'm sure he's still considering it wherever he is. So, be happy with what God has done for you. But in case you come across wealth, my brother Yinka is there to tell you how to manage it, particularly how to put it on to the coming generation. Thank you very much. God bless you. Many happy returns. Kenny, I'll be there in 5 years' time by the grace of God. Am I still staying here?
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And thank you so much. We really appreciate your advice, your lectures. Thank you so much. And to kick it rolling, we're going to have a keynote lecture. And briefly, we'll just take the citation of the panelist of Professor Tajuddin Yusuf and Mrs. Tawagboye Jegede. And to anchor this, I call on a distinguished gentleman, Mr. Kayode Aturashe, to quickly give citation of the panelist. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. I'm really honored, and I really admire my grandfather. So I feel blessed to be called to give this citation. So we'll start with Professor Tajuddin Olalekan Yusuf. Tajuddin Olalekan Yusuf is a professor of risk management and insurance at the Department of Actuarial Science, at the Department of Actuarial Science and Insurance of the University of Lagos. He has a BSc Insurance, MSc Management Lagos, MA Islamic Management, Banking and Finance, Lugoro, and a PhD in Risk Management and Insurance from the University of Nottingham. So Nottingham Business School, Nottingham United Kingdom. With over 26 years of experience, he has the expertise in insurance, risk management, non-interest finance, Takafu microfinance, micro-Takafu, and financial inclusion. His research interest focuses on how unconventional insurances can be developed and designed to enhance inclusion. He currently presides over the Institute of Islamic Finance Professionals, where efforts are geared towards forging a link between town and gown in the area of financial inclusion and regulations. He is the coordinator of non-interest finance programs, as well as a member of the academic board of University of Lagos Business School. As a life coach, he espouses the divine knowledge at the intersection of Islamic ethics and social forum. Please, can we give a round of applause to Professor Tajuddin Olalekan Yusuf? So secondly, Mrs. Teoboye Jegede. Teoboye Jegede is a versatile solicitor with 25 years post-qualification experience in litigation practice, FMCG, banking, company secretarial, and other financial services. Before her advancement into the trusteeship industry, Tewo was a senior legal advisor at Dangote Sugar Refinery PLC. She became a certified IFC, ICSAN trainer in corporate governance in 2017. She is a member of the Nigerian Bar Association and an associate of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. Teoboye Jegede has attended executive programs in business negotiations and leadership at the prestigious Harvard University and the Institute of Applied Management and Law in California, USA, where she obtained certification in employee relations law. She currently holds the position of Head of Trust and Legal Services at UTL Trust Management Services Limited. In her free time, she contributes to empowering indigent women, uplifting women and children from hardship through the Caring Sisters Ministry. Can we give a round of applause to Mrs. Teoboye Jegede? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kayode Atunrashe. Thanks so much. And to anchor the panelist lecture, I call on Professor Taibat Lawansi to anchor the panelist discussion. Thank you. Professor Taibat Lawansi, please.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's been really interesting, and I think we've had two lectures actually from the keynote speaker, who I will invite to join the panel now, and from our chairman, who's spoken from his own personal experience. So thank you very much for joining the conversation. Mr. Lashawari, please, can you join us upstage? Please give him a round of applause. So for this session, we're going to be asking the panelists who are experts in estate, planning, in understanding the complexities of thinking about the future. And they're going to be speaking from a more practical point of view, from an ethical point of view, and based on their experience and dealing with people from all walks of society, and has been said so eloquently.
Of wealthy families lose their wealth by the third generation. And the third generation is your children. Now, 50% of estimated 16.5 million deaths in the world today, as of June 2025, 50% of that population of people who have died as of June 2025 did not have an estate plan. So they died intestate. Like,
Is it blurry there? Go and check. Is it
my
blurry?
learned
It's blurry there. It's blurry here. Sorry.
senior had shared earlier on. Okay.
About 60% died intestate.
Died intestate.
60% of the population of the people that died in the US died from unestate plan.
And then bringing it to the United Kingdom, 54% of the people who have died in the United Kingdom as of June 2025 did not have an estate plan. Now bringing it home to Nigeria, according to the United Nations, Nigeria's population as of June 2025, about 237.5 million population. Now, 15% of Nigerian families have an estate plan. So of that population, just a mere 15% have an estate plan as we speak. I'm not sure how many of us are part of that 15%. Now, 70% of Nigerians die without a will. So at the global level, 70% lose their wealth in the first generation. But here in Nigeria, 90% lose their wealth in the second generation. So that means when they don't leave an estate plan in place, their assets, their wealth is not guaranteed. Preservation, transfer of wealth is not guaranteed, even on their children. We are seeing examples of families lost or who are in legal battles because there was no estate plan by the patriarch or the matriarch of the family. Now, coming to trust. A trust, simply put, I think I can sit down now. Thank you very much. A trust, simply put, is just a legal instrument by which how you want your assets to be managed when you are no longer here. Protect your assets. Leave something for
They just saying that they does not benefit in our life. So
right now, set up that trust while you're still alive. We call it living trust because you're still very much alive to control and to work with the trustees to harmonize your estate and also dispose the way you deem fit. People use trust to distribute personal assets and even for businesses and succession planning. I'll stop at that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And speaking of religion, many of us identify by our faith. So I'll go straight to Professor Yusuf. And my question to you is, let's take it from an Islamic point of view. A Muslim operating in a secular system in Nigeria who has conflicts between how do I secure my property in a way that honors my faith, but it also is fair and also protects us from, some of the 10% duties from the government. How can we navigate some of those tensions?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. And I want to appreciate the audience. When we talk about handling one's properties, in Islam, God makes it categorically clear. He owns everything. You are just a trustee. And he decides how you distribute your properties. So for a Muslim, he must see himself or herself as a trustee of Allah, that those wealth that are ascribed or attributed to him, he is holding it in trust for Allah. And what he must do is to earn it legally.
Which one?
I can say, please to go for management. I can say, please to go for the less difficult, just like our father is taking care of the next day. So that or want, we really challenge it's
property is jointly owned. If anything happens to one of the parties, goes to the next party. But I want to ask you, my question is, a property that is registered in a company's name, what I've been around for a little bit, and I've seen a lot of companies that are folded up. A situation where you put a trust in, let's say a national bank, for instance, has a trust, and today, National Bank is no more, the trust is dead. And in your will, you have written an instruction for such a company to handle your affairs. How do we proceed from there?
Thank you. Is there any other question? Any other hand? Okay. Okay. All right, thank you. So we have some other questions here. It's what is the tax advantage of a living trust over a will? Another one says, can a co-signatory of an account continue to use the account after demise unless it is a joint account? And the other one says, what happens when you have a will, but in the meantime, since you wrote the will, you have disposed of some of the assets? And the final question is, can you explain more about investing shares? How can it be effected in a will to make it easy for the children to access? So I will just ask Mr. Lashwere to respond to what he can, and then Prof and Mrs. Jagede to respond to those aspects that they can.
Thank you very much. The gentleman, I apologize, I don't know your name, but your question is very, very clear. And there is a two-pronged question. That where the assets are vested in a company, how does it translate? So companies have units of shares. So there are shareholders who constitute the membership of a company. So usually when we advise some clients, we say, why don't you buy the property in the name of the company and make your children the shareholders of the company in equal shares? That way, when the asset is to be sold, the proceeds of sale will be shared according to the shareholding in that. Let me give an example. A gentleman called Josie Olajoyegbe, and I can say this because it is public record. So in his will, he specified that all his assets are in Josiola Joyegbe and Sons. And he bequeathed shares in ranking order to his children. That is how we are managing the estate till tomorrow. When proceeds come into Josiola Joyegbe and Co., we distribute it according to the shareholding of the company. So that is a vehicle. Buying your assets in the name of a company and making the children the shareholders of that company. That is how that estate is being run till tomorrow. The other question you asked relates to when you now transfer your assets into a trust company and that trust company winds up, what happens? So in Gani Fawahimi's will, the late Chief Gani Fawahimi, he specified, Mrs. Jagede, you are managing that asset. I think he made about 3 or 4 trustee firms. If UTL does not accept, make first trustees, if first trust, anyway, he made it that way. So it's a difficult question because companies can be wound up. So if Mr. A transfers the property in Ilupeju to XYZ Trust Company with instructions on how the proceeds of rent should be managed, and the trust company winds up, what happens to the assets? Now, you have to realize that a trust instrument is a peculiar instrument. When you go to a trust company, you need to give instructions on what would happen to the proceeds of the trust. There must be objects of the trust. The assets of the trust are being transferred to the company for certain objects, not for the benefit of the trust company. The directors and shareholders of the company cannot legally appropriate the proceeds of the trust property as their income. What constitutes their income is their management fee. So when a trust company winds up and the asset of the trust is vested in the trust company, a legal tussle may ensue in ensuring that that asset is excised from the possible insolvency proceedings of the trust company. So in everything, there is a plus and there is a minus. If you write a will, there is a plus. If you write a will, there is a minus, it can be challenged. If you transfer property to a trust, there is a plus. They are independent, they are professionals, they have succession, they have corporate succession. Managements will come and go, but the trust company remains. But in the event of insolvency, then the beneficiaries of the estate will have to take proactive steps to ensure that the assets that are subject of the trust are not subsumed in insolvency proceedings. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you very much. I was also going to buttress that position. In my organization, how we deal with that is that the trust document, which we call a trust deed, makes provisions for such situations. So where the trust company is undergoing insolvency, there's a clause in the trust deed that allows for transfer to another trustee company. So already you have predetermined that situation and you have made solution for what can go wrong and how it can be addressed. Also, we have protectors in a trust. We appoint people that are called protectors. The settlor, the person setting up the trust, is the person that appoints these protectors. These are people that he trusts, people that he knows that when he's not there, they are able to, stand for him and carry out his dictates. So those protectors are the ones that will take those steps to work with the trustee for that transition to take place, to move from that trustee company that is going insolvent to another trustee company. And that way, there's seamless transfer of assets. Thank you very much.
Yeah. In the case of somebody who had already written a will and something happens that he has to change it, or something he never thought could happen happened. Take, for instance, in the will of a Muslim, when he lists out his assets, he lists out his liabilities. Take, for instance, he owes some people some money, debt. So on a particular day, he says, I'm owing 1 million naira. And a week after,
he settles half of that debt, which now is which is 500,000 left. He has to go and alter his will. He has to alter his will because the will takes care of not more than 1/3 of your estate. I mentioned the 2/3 has been divinely shared by Allah in chapter 4, verse 11 and 12 of the Quran. And then the Prophet said, it is the duty of every one of you that has properties that can be bequeathed to future generation, not to allow 2 nights pass without him writing it down. So it has to be documented. So from time to time, your will can change. For what purpose will it change? If there is an increase in your assets or a decrease in your liability or an increase in your liability, you have to go and alter it. And you don't do this by yourself. You must have a lawyer or an Islamic scholar who is grounded in such specialization to advise you. The reason for that is after your demise, there won't be room for disputes. What are my own properties? What are the properties of others in my custody? So that my family will not have anything to do with it. Thank you.
So, sorry, Prof. There was an aspect of the question about where a will has been made and the asset in the will has been disposed of. So in law, we say that that gift has failed. So if a person disposes of an asset that as at the time of passage, the asset is no more, the gift has failed. It is no more.
All right, thank you very much. And now we come to final questions. And I have one question for the 3 of you. And that will be, what is one piece of advice you'll give to someone who's just starting to think about estate planning? Now, I would like you to respond to that question from the perspective of a woman wanting to give her assets to her children. I would like you to respond to that question from the aspect of somebody who has where there are cultural expectations and family dynamics. For example, if there's a polygamous setting that causes a bit of friction. And then from the perspective of somebody who has assets scattered around, both here and abroad, and is thinking about how can I consolidate everything in a way that is neat and dignifying and safeguards my future.
Thank you very much. Okay, so for people who are new to estate plan and who want to start, yes, there's a period, there's the incubation period where you begin to think about it. But what we say to people is, don't dwell too much on it. Take steps. You take 1 step today. First step will be to seek out a professional. If you are focusing on writing a will, then you should be looking out for people like my senior, Mr. Olashiwere. And if you want to go by way of trust, you should be looking out for trustee companies like UTL Trustees. And we say that because on your own, you cannot understand the intricacies of writing an estate or setting up an estate plan. There are so many legal angles to it. There are so many rules that only your trust advisor or your estate planner will understand and be able to advise you, such that you don't set up a plan that will fail. Like Mr. Olashiwere just mentioned, a gift that failed. So you sit down, locate a trust advisor, sit down with them, because no 2 estates are the same. So there's no one size fits all. We sit down with our clients, we profile them, we profile their background, we profile their family structures. You know, we have monogamous structures, we have polygamous structures, and then we profile their assets. What kind of assets do you have? Are you going to need a will? Are you going to need a trust, a living trust? Or are you going to need a pour-over will? A pour-over will is what Mr. Olashewere explained earlier, that it is pouring some of the assets into the trust to say, I don't want to sell these properties. Just keep it in a trust so that my grandchildren can meet something. So some people go as far as catering for education of their grandchildren, even children's children and generation after that they may not even meet. So that's the legacy side of estate planning. So you can do a transgenerational trust. We call it family dynasty trust in my company. We sit down with you and say, okay, what do you want to set aside for your children? What do you want to set aside for their own children, which are your own children's children? And then for a woman, there is no law against, there's no gender discrimination when it comes to estate planning. As a man can plan his own estate, a woman too can plan her own estate, as long as you have assets that you want to bequeath to your children. So there is no restriction. So you can also do likewise. And then for cultural settings, cultural inclinations come in where you have failed to plan your estate. And that's when the culture background of where you came from will begin to superimpose itself over your wishes, because you have left it for culture to take over. You have left it for statutes to take over, for administration of estate law to take over. But if you sit down and say, I want to do my trust, and this is the way I want to go about it, then you have already gained control, because you know your family more than anyone else. So you're the one who is able to determine that, oh, this child, this one cannot handle money. Oh, Madorieru. So let me not just kill him. What I will do is tell the trustees to keep this money aside for him. We have such trust in UTL that we would determine when we're going to release the funds to the child or the beneficiary, because there are some beneficiaries that in the present, even in the lifetime of their parents, they're already causing trouble. They're already showing signs that this one will not be responsible. They're already showing signs that they cannot manage money. They cannot hold money. So we help such beneficiaries by saying, okay, when you are 18, we will release part of this trust fund to you. When we see what you have done with it, then we'll release another tranche when you're 21, another one maybe when you are 25. And that helps those kind of beneficiaries to help them to rehabilitate them, such that they too, they are aware that, oh, I have a trust fund somewhere. My siblings are getting more money than me. I'm getting less because of my behavior. But if I change my behavior, my father has said in the trust that if I'm of good behavior, then I can access more. So it begins to look inwards too, that what do I need to do? What do I need to change? And we've seen real life situation of such. And then you can also maximize the flexibility of what a trust can help you achieve. I have a client, or we had a client, when he was setting up his trust with us. He gave us numerous instructions, including how he wants his burial to be handled. He went as far as introducing us to an undertaker, a funeral home, and said, when I pass, these are the number of guests you must invite. Yes, it was that detailed. And then he gave us list of souvenirs that we must distribute at his burial, and the number of souvenirs, the kind of food they should serve, no alcohol at his burial. And I tell you, I'm very privileged and happy to say that we followed his dictates one by one and made sure that we carried out everything. Because when I sleep at night as a trustee, I want to be able to sleep and say, my deceased clients are looking at me and they are happy where they are. That, yes, Mrs. Jegede, you have carried out our instructions. So, so those are the kind of things that you can use a trust to achieve, and make sure that even while you are in the grave, you are speaking, you are controlling things, you are directing things. I know a lot of patriarchs and matriarchs of very large estates that they are very meticulous. They go to the granular details as to how they want their assets to be managed. Why? They have the right, because they worked hard for these things. They made sure that they left this legacy. So they don't want it to end up in the courtroom where siblings are now filing applications. Lawyers are hitting, I'm a lawyer, by the way. Lawyers are feeding fat on them. One lawyer will tell this faction of siblings that, don't worry, we'll file an application. We will deal with them. Forgetting that there's a bloodline connecting these people. But because they want to make money, they don't care. But if you had put an estate plan in place, those kind of things will not happen. Your children will not end up in the courtroom, and your name, most importantly, because it's also part of the legacy, will not end up in the courtroom where siblings and your children are throwing banters at themselves. So my final word to all of us seated in this room today is that don't delay. Don't delay. Start today. If you call any of your advisors, if you don't know anyone, at least you've met 3 today, call us. We will sit down with you and advise you on how to go about it step by step. It is sometimes it's simple because your estate is also simple. Sometimes it's complex. And for the people that have complex family structures, those are the people that should be running up to us to say, I want to do it today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I want to say, I share a foundation. We call it Zakat and Sadaqah Foundation. I have been the chairman of the board of that foundation for about 10 years. And I have a lot of experience of this nature. What do we advise? A Muslim is expected to impact, to educate his family about living and dying. The family members ought to be aware, they ought to know that in the Quran, in the Sunnah, there are teachings that a Muslim or a male or a female Muslim must abide by in terms of when a Muslim is writing his will and how should he be buried and how his properties should be dispensed. And it starts from a Muslim making sure that he earns lawful income. Make sure your earnings are lawful. You don't dispossess others illegally of their properties. You don't cheat, you don't steal. Make sure you feed your family on legitimate earnings. So, and this your children too should be educated in Islamic knowledge. The children are already aware that it is Allah who determines what goes to who. When the children are aware of this, there won't be room for disputes after your death. You must be able to write in your will how many wives or wives you have. How many children do you have? How many are males? How many are females? Where should you be buried? Who should you be asked to oversee your burial rights? You know, you must provide for this. And the list of assets I mentioned earlier, and the list of your liabilities. So, and then you have a right to bequeath 1/3 of your assets to those who don't belong to your who are biologically related to you. Maybe a friend, somebody somewhere, a foundation, 1/3. The remaining 2/3 is it is God that determines what goes to who, what goes to what, how much goes to your male children, your female, your wife, your parents, and then your uncle. If your parents are not there, that is when it goes to your uncle. So all these things must be done. And what do we do? In that foundation, we have lawyers, we have estate valuers, we have accountants, there so that all these properties, when you are no more, they value it. What does it, what is the what? And we do as you have instructed. What goes to who? And we read it out. They will read Quran chapter 4, verse 11 to 12 to the hearings, that this is what God says should be your own. This is what God says should be your own. And there will not be any problem. So this is what I will advise any Muslim who wants to have his family, his estate distributed according to divine instructions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Final word for me is family values. What is prevalent is that the generation of the celebrant today, the major shortcoming is communication. Most of our patriarchs neglect to communicate. So we just did a webinar now with ARM trustees, and it was all about communication, about succession in family businesses. And the common trend in that webinar was that patriarchs and matriarchs take things for granted. They do not communicate. Trillions of naira in unclaimed dividends, bank balances with no owners. Why? Why can't we communicate? This is what I have. This is how I want to be remembered. Just say it if you don't want to write it. Let them imbibe it. There are some families who have a tradition of lunches and dinners and travels and all. And the matriarchs and the patriarchs make it a duty to talk about how they want things to run when they are no more. They confront it. This is how I want things to be done. They are facing the reality of mortality. It is a certainty. Nobody is going to leave this planet alive. So what is the big deal in not confronting the reality and making plans to make things easier for your loved ones? So for me, what I stress to my clients is communication. That you must be able to communicate with your children, with your grandchildren. Let them know what your values are. Let them know what you want them to uphold. And let them know exactly how you want some of your assets to be handled when you are no more. I must disclose that Mrs. Jegede and I, we have fought many battles together because I'm a retained solicitor to UTL. And I've handled so many delicate matters for them. We've been through quite a lot. So today, it is a very mild discussion. We've had estates where you cannot imagine what children do to each other. Children of the same blood, what they do to each other for the sake of inheritance. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much to our panelists. What I learned, what you have all said in few words and based on your experience and your professional expertise, is that having an estate plan is an act of love. It is a tangible act of love for your children and those who are coming after you, because there is need for clarity and there's need for structure. There's need to protect your hard-earned wealth and ensure that it ends up in the hands of those who you want it to end up in, and it's able to help to keep your memory as blessed. It's important to safeguard and to mitigate the conflict that often arises in the family. So beyond it being an act of love of you to your children and to your generation, it is also a very wise way to ensure that your next generation avoids a bit of or a lot of complication. So on that note, I would like us to put our hands together and to thank our esteemed panel. They have done a fantastic job in bringing very good insights, practical insights into what it means to think about the future and to think about, structuring the future in a way that is beneficial. So please, let's just get up and take a picture. If you can't leave yet, I'll just hand over to the MC. Yeah. We want to invite
Yes, in order to just wind up the celebration, I will call on Professor Abisogun Lee to present awards to the panelists. Thank you, sir. The award is being given on behalf of the trustees of the Kehinde Danmole Foundation. Thank you.
On behalf of Kehinde Danmole Foundation, I have the greatest pleasure to present this award of participation. You have really done wonderfully well. I am very, very happy with the knowledge I'm taking away from here today. Please, on behalf of the celebrant, receive this with our love, and we thank you so much for your beautiful contribution today. Thank you so much. Professor Yusuf, you have given us a dimension that is strange to me because I'm a Christian, but I'm a good student. I have learned a lot from what you have said. 1/3, that's what you can give by yourself. All right. So on behalf of the foundation and the celebrant, I have just pleasure in awarding you this plaque. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Finally, that's where we should have started. But thank God I'm doing that. So Mrs. Jegede, we appreciate your presence here today, and we are happy of participation. And I'm sure there are many people in the audience who have already noted your address. We've been getting in touch with you. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you. Oh. A lọ gbé bá ń bẹ̀ ni. A máa lọ gbé bá bàbá ń bẹ̀ ni. Ẹ wà. Mo lè fẹ́ kí. Now, this last award is for the Egun ńlá tó ń gbẹ̀yìn ìgbàlẹ̀. The chairman wọ́n ní mo ló ń wò. To our big brother, to let you know that we have really appreciated your contribution in the last 25 years, your personal relationship with Kenny, and official contributions that you have made to the foundation. We have this special award on behalf of everybody. Please accept it. That's the best we can do. We appreciate your contribution always and your knowledge. I think 10 years from now. Everybody here. Thank you so much, Chad. Thank you. Right. How are you, sir?
And to present award to the celebrants. To present award to the celebrants, I call on Mrs. Zainab Abidjan Ramos. Please, Mrs. Zainab Abidjan Ramos.
Oh, every day.
Good evening, everyone. Family, distinguished guests, and especially a celebrated honoree, Major Kehinde Danmole. It's an immense privilege to be here to celebrate a man who embodies so much to everyone. I've been given the special task of presenting a book that captures his remarkable life. But before I do, I'd like to share a few personal words. I can't remember the first time I met him because I was a little girl. But over the years, what has consistently amazed me was not only his military discipline, but his profound wisdom and his quiet strength. He has always been a person you can turn to for sound advice. His insight has a way of cutting through the noise and getting to the heart of a matter. He's the kind of man whose counsel you can trust intrinsically. The biography of his children compiled mentions his belief that his life is not worth only living, but is also about helping the less privileged. I can attest to this personally. I've seen him consistently extend that helping hand to me and to many others, not only out of obligation, but from a genuine place of kindness and sincerity. While many know him for his integrity and kindness, his life is a story of incredible service to his nation. From his early days as a pioneer officer in the Nigerian Air Force to his valiant service during the Civil War, he fought gallantly for his country, our beloved Nigeria. His courage was officially recognized with a decoration like the Republic Medal and the General Service Medal, which was a powerful testament to his dedication. After his military career, his service continued. He became a force for the good of the community, a Rotarian, a rural, a Paul Harris Fellow, a patron of the Boys Scout movement, and a trustee to the Deafblind Association of Nigeria. His work on the board of the Atuda Olu School for Physically Challenged Children shows his deep commitment to helping others where the necessity arises. All of these achievements are incredible, but to me, his most cherished legacy is his family. His children, Olalongbe, Olaiton, Oluwadamikola, Oluwafunmilayo, Kayode, Oluwajimi, Oluwafolajimi as well, and Azadesola, who is right next to me. Major Kehinde Danmole, a life as rich and impactful as yours is a story that deserves to be told. It's a story of courage, service, and unwavering integrity. This book is a collection of those memories, achievements, and heartfelt messages. It's a tribute compiled with immense love for your children and everyone whose life you've touched. This is not just a book. It's a testament of your life. And we want to present this to you. Oh my God, let's go together.
And is near.
I'd like to present this to you.
And so I face the final curtain.
For all you've done, for all your
my friend,
and all of us that have
I'll stay it clear.
to have you in our life.
I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it
cutting of the cake.
my
Mrs. Gloria Ayebusi. Mrs. Gloria Ayebusi to conduct the cutting of the cake. Mrs. Gloria Ayebusi to conduct the cutting of the cake. Thank you.
Too few to mention. I did what I had to do, saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway. More, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times I'm sure you knew when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up. Ate it up. I ate it up. And I stood tall and did it my
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome to this very unique celebration of our dear father, brother, grandfather. Before we cut the cake, I'd like to say one or two things about Major Danmole. I have known him for the past 50 years, and I want to say one or two things about him. Like I sent a birthday wish to him this morning. I said, I want to celebrate the best father in the whole universe. Please, can we clap for him? Yes. I would say that because I know how dutiful you are to these children, how you used to take them to school, how you take them for common entrance, command entrance. There was no exam you did not take them to. How you visit them in school, how you cared about them. And I would say that, and I'll always say it, I say it behind you, and I'll say it again, and I think you're one of the best fathers I've ever met. I am a teacher. I'm a teacher, and I've been in education for so many years. And I run an institution, an educational institution, and I have seen the role of fathers in the lives of their children. I must tell you that to do with his children,
I think he's one of the few ones I have met, because most times it's mothers that come around that hustle for their children. But in his own case, he was there, and he was a fantastic man. He cared for these children, all of them, and I'm happy today that they've made you proud, sir. Congratulate you, sir. God bless you, sir. So we go to the cutting of the cake right away. And we are going to count to 85. Yes. I told you I'm a teacher, so I like to do things like a teacher. Okay, let me cut it short. We start from 70, so that I do not bore you. Yes, 15. So can we all start from 70? Let's start 70. Please repeat after me. 70. Stand back. Okay. So let's start counting again. We start from 70, 75, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, and 85. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. May the good Lord bless you. May the good Lord keep you. May the good Lord bless you, Daddy. May the good Lord bless you. Hip, hip, hip. Hip, hip, hip. Hip, hip, hip. For he is a jolly good fellow. No, for he is a jolly good fellow. No, for he is a jolly good fellow. And so say all of us. And so say all of us. And so say all of us. For he is a very good fellow. No, for he is a very good fellow. No, for he is a very good fellow. And so say all of us. Hip, hip, hip.
I don't have to. I wish you that put us quickly. I want to see that. That's all I can say. I wish you many happy returns in the air. Wave them like you can. Raise up your face. Make some noise. Let the party begin. And the love within. Move flow. Let it go. That's all I can say. I wish you many after. I'll be happy. That's all I can say. I wish you many, many happy returns. It's your mommy here. Oh, yeah. It's your daddy here. Oh, yeah. Are your friends here? Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's Kola here. Oh, yeah. It's Uche here. Oh, yeah. It's our mother here. Oh, yeah.
Ló Dúpẹ́ Ṣẹ̀bánjọ, Dúpẹ́ Ṣẹ̀bánjọ, Kọ́ńbọ̀, Dúpẹ́ Ṣẹ̀bánjọ, Dúpẹ́ Ṣẹ̀bánjọ. Sọlá, Dúpẹ́ Ṣẹ̀bánjọ.
Yeah, devil makes me feel. I ought to be in love again. Anyone who takes offense at a day in your celebration, you wanna know in my mind that there ought to be a sign that we can decide. So, just how much we keep without you, and I'm sure you would agree. But this is what perfect thing. Then to have a world party on the day you can be. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Never understood. And that's good. Not hesitated would. There was that boy because cannot be between the liberty and they just make it seem and we all know everything that is number kind of brain or in pizza or thing. It's my yeah. You know, and the whole thing should be there and forever be. Although you mentioned that was a wonderful people, so let us all begin. We know that that's the way. One, ó ti ré kọjá fújì rege ó ti ré kọjá fújì fọkì là wà ní sẹ́yìn àgbàdì lọ́la o. Òyìnbó ń ṣe.
House. House. Please, all Eco Club members here present should join us. Who? So let's start. Okay, sir. Today's sir. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. We wish you many happy returns of their day, long life and prosperity. For he is a jolly good fellow, for he is a jolly good fellow, for he is a jolly good fellow. And so say all.
And so say all of us. And so say all of us.
For he is a jolly good fellow. For he is a jolly fellow. For he is a jolly good fellow. And so say, hip, hip, hip. Hip, hip, hip. Hip, hip, hip. Blessings. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Tell me your ears. You wanna dance footy funky. Make sure you come along with the food. You don't come along with your food. Make sure you don't walk around another man's food. That means they be for a fucker. Now listen, everybody. Listen. When I say one time, give me eye. Two more times. Give me eye. Now here we go.
Hello, Molu College. Molu College.
Happy right. Two more times. Happy right.
Police College, please.
Thank you.
I see full God. I see full God. Àwọn tó ṣọrẹ fún mi ṣọrẹ fún àtọ́ṣọrẹ lójoojúmọ́. Ọba kan láti ìbàlẹ̀ àdúrà máa ń lẹ́yìn aṣọ òótọ́. Kò lẹ́rọ ní ibi rárá. Sí gbogbo.
Police College, please.
ìyàwó ọlọ́ṣẹ́ ìrìnà lọ́dún rẹ̀ so ẹlẹ́gbẹ̀sọ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ ní lọ́tọ̀ ìbáṣe ọgbà. People to down here, that could be a son, yeah, son.
Um, okay. Yeah. I want to say, yeah, you. Distinguished ladies, gentlemen, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please lend me your ears. Kindly me your ears, please. Well, on behalf of Municipal College Old Boys Association, it's my great pleasure to present our father, who has been a major pillar in our association and Municipal College itself. So, on behalf of Mokosa, I honorably and with all humility present this plaque to you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I've been also directed by my seniors here that we need to sing the school song. It's a brief one, and it goes this way. Only the best, the best, the best, the best is good enough for Molusi College, for Molusi Chalet, in every walk of life, in church, in state, at farm, at home, in commerce, in service, in every walk of life. We shall feed the nation, we shall house the nation, we shall heal the nation. Better than everybody, we shall clothe the nation, we shall carry the nation, we shall please the nation. Better than everybody, we shall serve and guide and lead mankind to the glory of God and the peace of mankind. Congratulations, sir. Thank you, sir. Only the best, sir. Thanks, sir.
Hello, Danmole family, please. Danmole family. Danmole family, please step forward. The great Danmole family. The great Danmole family, please step forward. The great Danmole family. Great Danmole family, please step forward. Danmole family, please. Danmole family, please. Photographers. Danmole family is here. Danmole family. Photographers, are you ready? Photographers. Photographers, Danmole family.
Eliana, Elina, Eliana, Elina, Eliana, Elina, Eliana, Elina, Eliana, Eliana, Elina. It's very long watching. Oh, about the long watching. It is very long watching. Ọba òkè ló fún wọn ṣe orí bẹ́ẹ̀. Ọmọdé ìgbóyàwó darí ìjọya. Ìjọya, ìjọya.
Hello, house. The boys next generation. The boys next generation. The boys next generation. Take photograph, please. The boys next generation. I see women coming forward. I see women coming forward. The best boys next generation.
Land of blessing. Africa.
Hello, the boys next generation.
Africa. I'm black, I'm proud. I'm black, I'm proud. I'm black, I'm proud. I'm black, I'm proud. I've traveled all over the sea. And
the boys next generation, please. The boys next generation.
Like Africa. Yeah. Smile. All Africa Games of Nigeria prove to all the world that Africa is a nation. Africa, fatherland, Africa. Yeah, 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 Africa. Yeah, 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 Africa. Smile. The bright sunshine of Nigeria makes me to believe that all over the world, there's no place like Africa. For Nigeria is my home. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Smile.
The next
I'm black.
The next program is a
black, I'm
response
proud.
by the celebrant.
I'm black, I'm proud.
Response by the celebrant.
I'm black, I'm proud.
Response by the celebrant.
All over the land.
Response by the celebrant, please.
Ọpẹ́ ní kò ì tó, ojoojúmọ́ ni ó máa dúpẹ́. Ọpẹ́ mi kò ì tó, ojoojúmọ́ ni ó máa yọ̀ jẹ́jẹ́. Bàbá tó ń bá mi ṣe, bàbá tó ń bá mi ṣe o. Òun ló dùn ọ́. Òun ló bá mi ṣe. I want to say a very big thank you to everybody here present and those who are unable to make it, my
And God will bless abundantly. God will reward them with every kindness on earth. God will bless their children. Everybody here present has been putting smile on my face. And for that reason, I want to say thank you, and thank you very much. God bless you. Bye-bye. Yeah, okay. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Okay.
Hello? Hello? The next thing is fundraising and vote of thanks. This is to be handled by Ms. Lalonkwe Aturashi. Thank you. Please, let's be seated, please. Let's be seated. The event is still on. Let's be seated. It's fundraising and vote of thanks by Lalonkwe Aturashi. Thank you.
Please, let's be quiet. Thank you so much. Thank you. Mr. Wale Alayaki, the MC. Quiet. Thank you very much. On behalf of the board and trustees of the Kehinde Danmole Foundation, I thank you very much for coming. I thank you very much for your presence. And in lieu of gift, the celebrant of today has requested that he doesn't want any presents. He doesn't want anyone giving him any cards or anything. But you should please send your contributions to the Kehinde Danmole Foundation. The account number of the foundation will be posted there. If it's not there, you can just scan the QR code, or you can ask me for the number. I'll send it to you. I do that a lot of times. I love it, sending out account numbers. So thank you very much. I pray for every one of us in the name of God that you will get to your destination safely. And I pray in the name of Almighty God that God will keep all of us in good health, a sane mind, peace, and prosperity. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Bye.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear.
Hello.
I'll state my case,
Closing prayer,
of which I'm certain.
Baba Dini.
I've lived a life that's full of
the closing prayer.
I traveled each and every highway.
Thank you, sir.
And more.
Ọpẹ́ wa pọ̀ lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run torí pé adájọ́ ènìyàn pé ẹ̀gbọ́n wa, bàbá wa, àbúrò àwọn kan wọ́n ń ṣe ọdún 85, that is márùndínláàádọ́rùn-ún. Ọdún láyé is not a joke. It's not a joke. And look at the number. He's still very young. Very young. Àbáyé dúpẹ́ fọ́lọ́. Gbogbo ìgbàgbà ló ń lé ayé ẹ̀sìn ń lé lé. Gbogbo ìgbó bá ń kùnà àgbà náà lẹ́nu. Ní lágbó, rẹ̀ ní sọ́kú. Níjọ́ tẹ̀sí wà láyé ẹ̀jẹ̀ ìfọ̀jọ́ ọmọ náà. Àwọn ọmọ náà fà ìsìnkú náà. Títẹ̀ máa fi lọ
Ọlọ́run náà ẹ̀yìn ìjọba láàmú. Àwọn ọmọ náà ò ní gbà ní láàmú. A máa rí inú wa máa dùn. Ẹ̀yin náà máa rí wa inú wa máa dùn. Gbogbo ọjọ́ tẹ bá jí, tẹ bá wo àwọn ọmọ yín àtàwọn ọmọ yín, inú yín á dùn. Tẹ bá rí wọn lọ́sàn-án, inú yín dùn. Gbogbo ọjọ́ wà láyé, inú ló ń dùn lẹ́yìn àdúgbò. Ẹ wá pẹ́ láyé o. Ẹ lálàáfíà o. A kàn lè sọ fígọ̀ ni, ìwọ́n mo fẹ́ kẹ́ kọjá 95. 120 lẹ́fẹ́, ọkọ̀ tí dáláwọ̀ ò lè ṣe, ọkọ̀ ẹgbẹ́ mi ìmọ̀ bóyá ẹ má lè rẹ̀. Lórí 85 ẹ tẹ̀ pa ń sìn. Kálẹ̀ mọ́ padà nílé ni màá ti bá yín gbé lọ sí 120. Ṣùgbọ́n ń tẹ́ bèrè, Ọlọ́run bá mi ṣe fún wọn. Kẹ́yìn wọn náà padà, wọn máa lo 120. Àwa dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo ọ̀tọ̀ wà ń bílẹ̀ ní pé gbogbo alábàdàgbà o. Gbogbo alábàdàgbà o. Gbogbo àwa ta yọ̀ǹgà sí wọn. Ọlọ́run jẹ́ káà náà ṣe dáadáa báyìí. Torí pé tá bá pè wá tábà sí ibi yóò tètè. Ibi nǹkan dáadáa náà máa pè wá sí. Ibi nǹkan dáadáa la máa ṣe. Àwa náà àwa tó báyìí, àájú báyìí lọ. Àwa wá tọmọtọmọ wọ́n ṣe wá tínú gbogbo àwọn ọmọ wọn ń dùn. Àwa náà lè ṣe tiwa bẹ́ẹ̀. Tí wọ́n bá ṣe 95 gbogbo alábàwà ń bẹ̀. Tọ́lọ́ bá dẹ̀ fún yín 100, àwa ń bẹ̀. But ìtẹ̀tún bèrè yẹn, àwa bá yín ṣe ń lé. Tọ́lá wa máa wà láyé tẹ́yìn báyìí wà láyé. A ní lọ lágbára Ọlọ́run. Àbájọ́ wa ń lọ́lé yìí. Àkòyà ibi. Àpàdé àlùbáríkà àpàdé gbogbo wa tá a lọ inú àní tẹ́nítìkà ní ọ̀tọ̀ ọ̀tàmọ́lẹ̀ o. Gbogbo tá a náà ń bò lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run á bá wa ṣe o. Inú wa dùn, ara wa yá, gbogbo ọjọ́ a máa fi dunnú. Àwọ̀ wa ò ní bàjẹ́, orí wa ò ní dàrú. Lágbára Ọlọ́run gbogbo ọjọ́ tá a bá dé láyé, lákàyè wa máa pè ní. Àwa ní tọrọ jẹ. Àní ẹgbẹ́ àtàkùn ẹni tó bá kù díẹ̀ káàtó bó tiẹ̀ ṣe wá bá wa ṣayọ̀ lẹ́nu Ọlọ́run àṣàyọ̀ tó kàn lágbára Ọlọ́run aṣọ ìdílé o. Ẹ bá lè rí o lórúkọ Jésù Kristi Olúwa wa. Fàtíà. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا صراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Orí ọ̀fẹ́ Jésù Kristi Olúwa wa. Ìfẹ́ mímọ́ ti Bàbá àti ìdàpọ̀ jẹ́ ẹ̀mí mímọ́ fún bàbá gbogbo wa gbé láti sìn àti títí láéláé. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀. Thank you very much.
And now the end is near, so I face the final curtain.
Let's go. It's all dance now.
My friend, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway. More, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times I'm sure you knew when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I Oh, I've laughed and cried. I've had my fill, my share of losing. And now, as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that. And may I say, not in a shy way, oh no, no, not me. I did it. Wow.
Àbòsí ti dáyà náà ti gbìn. Títí dáyà ọjọ́ ti pẹ́. Gbéga pẹ̀lú ìdára o. Ó ti dáyà náà ti gbìn o. Jésù Kristi nígbà tó ń bẹ láyé. Ṣé ló ń bí òkú gbígbé? Ó ń lajẹ ọkọ tí ó ń mú wọn lára dá. Ó tún ti jẹ́ ìyanu. Wọ́n síbẹ̀síbẹ̀ táwọn lọ́rùn lára. Wọ́n kúrọ́ mọ́. Wọ́n ṣèké mọ́. Wọ́n lójú korojú. Wọ́n lójú sanwó orí mọ́. Wọ́n síbẹ̀síbẹ̀ tí bá fẹ́ láṣẹ. Bàbá ló rán mi wá, tẹ́mi wá lò gba tèmi. Àbínú ẹni o, jẹ́ lọ dákẹ́ tẹ́mi. Jẹ́ lọ dákẹ́ tẹ́mi. Sọ fún wọn tẹ́lẹ̀. Olúwa lágbára. Agbára. Ẹ̀ka tó lúwa bá kọ, kó sẹ́ni tó lè padà orí mi, onígbòho. Èrè kálukú o, lọ́wọ́ ẹlẹ́dàá ló wà, Olúwa, mo má gbàgbé o. Olúwa, mo má gbàgbé o. I never saw.
ọ̀rọ̀ tí ń ṣọgọ́fà ní ìṣọ̀run tó ń ṣogójì náà ló ń ṣe gbá. ọ̀rọ̀ tí ń ṣọgọ́fà ní ìṣọ̀run o èyí tó ń ṣọgọ́fà náà ló ń ṣe gbá. ọ̀rọ̀ tó ń ṣàbọ̀ ẹ̀dẹ́ tó mú mọ́ra sí òṣòro. ó ti dá mi lójú gbogbo ọlọ́yà ló máa kó bẹ́ẹ̀ ò bá mọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ sì rè o. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear yes àti gbọ́dọ̀ bá rí èyí tí mo tún ń gbèdé. Adéyìnmí ká olókùnrin Àyìndé òkun bá ní wàhálà. If you wanna see body water, gonna see one down. But it's all never shall I ever. Ẹ kọ́kọ́ bá mi tẹ́wọ̀ àdúrà yìí o. Gbogbo aláboyún lé tí wọ́n ti wá tẹ̀ sínú. Béwé ṣe ń bọ̀ o látọ̀rí igi pẹ̀lú àti aláwùrà bí. Tí kò ní palára ẹ̀. Gbogbo yìí lè máa bímọ ẹ̀. Agbóhùn ìyá pẹ̀lú ọmọ ẹ̀. Gbogbo yìí lè máa bí wẹ́rẹ́. Lọ́jọ́ tọ́mọ tó ti dẹ́rù sọ́kọ̀ fóun rẹ̀ ilé ayé tó bá ti dénú ìyá rẹ̀ ló ti bẹ̀rù sáání ní. Bọ́láboyún bá yọ lókèrè tó bá rojú kókó. Ìbùnú wọn mọ àdàmọ̀ wọn ní ta ló rán níṣẹ́ o. Nígbà tó ń jẹ́ gbádùn ẹ̀ alẹ́ tó wí fún. Wọ́n lọ́lá kórí orí ìlànà ló wá wá.
Bade. Roja over. I don't even tell you go like he do me karateka. Kind of feel it. You ain't be done sinner. I say that's where you find die. Baby girl, you be got design. But I don't pay the road. I saw you design. Now you be my one. You are pay the price.
Plenty killing from my life, now you I choose. Don't they wonder if you everything I prove? If I do you wrong, my baby, too, I'm sorry. You say I get too many girls that understood me. But now you did my mind, I swear, say now you did my mind. I swear I know the lie, I think about you all the time. Cause girl, you blow my mind. And I know fit now. Girl, you do me bad.
ẹ má fagilé tí wọ́n kọ̀ ọ́ ẹ má fi rere wéèrè ẹni bá lè mọ̀ àló lè ṣàlàyé àwọn ọmọ bẹ́ẹ̀ tá a ti kọ́.